Good morning. Welcome to Tip Off. Jazz get a nice win, and they're 3-3. How about that, by the way? So here we sit, 6 games into the season, and the Jazz are 3-3. Exactly what really they should be. Frankly, they're probably a game ahead of what I would have thought. I would have thought they would have lost to Philadelphia, New Orleans, or Milwaukee. Maybe not knowing Bogut, Delfino, actually Bogut, Dunleavy, and Udrich would be out, but uh, so you got to take where you are. I mean, I think the reaction from the fan from the vocal minority. I always hate it when I suddenly put all those who contact me on Facebook and Twitter as the fan base. I think that's an artificial look at it. But the reaction to the 3 losses on the road was pretty extreme, and you got to mellow out a little bit. I mean, it's early in the year. We have now completed the amount of games you would have in the preseason, and it's pretty stunning, at least how different everyone's roles are and what's going on and how much it all looks like it might fit together. I would also tell you that probably cool the Jets about beating New Orleans team on a back end of a back-to-back. I thought the Philly win was good, and last night, Milwaukee's playing with half their team, but we'll take them. I mean, that's what this league is. You get some opportunities and you grab them, and you're 3-3. And frankly, if the Jazz take care of their business at home this year and find a way to beat some of the better teams at home, then if you just sneak a few out on the road, you end up with a half decent year. There are a lot of things to talk about. I do want to point out to you, Jazz ticket package that is available. That to me, I think is just really cool. It's called the your. It depends which way you view it, but it's basically you pick them. 5 games, 5 game ticket pack, and my joke about this is I would just take after the Memphis game the next 5 home games: Lakers, Darren and Memo, Blake Griffin and Chris Paul of the Clippers, Dallas on a late Thursday night, and Ricky Rubio in Minnesota. I mean, this home schedule is nuts. But obviously, you pick them. You can take an Oklahoma City game in February. You can grab Miami in March. Rubio's supposed to be worth seeing. I've been texting with their play-by-play announcer. He says they're fabulous. Denver comes in. So you pick them 5. You just call up 325-2999. 325-2999. I just think that's such a great package. So feel free to check that out for everyone. All right, let's get to some of the things. This was a kind of a crazy night last night in the NBA. There were a lot of things that jumped out. Some of the rookies finally made an impact. Kyrie Irving and Tristan Thompson had very good games for Cleveland. We see that. Andrew Bynum, by the way, has had 21 points and 22 rebounds last night in a win over a centerless Rockets team. They have Samuel Dallenberg. But that was a pretty big performance by Bynum. They look pretty good. The bigger story is probably that Portland went into Oklahoma City and won last night. And the only reason I wanted to mention that is Oklahoma City had that blow up between Westbrook and Durant. Had since then, if Durant had not hit that crazy 3 to beat Dallas, they'd be 0-3. Now people will be talking, and that's going to be the question on how Oklahoma City deals with those things. Durant's pretty special, and they've dealt with them pretty well thus far. All right, let's go to the Jazz. Last night, lots of things to like. I think the thing that's been most impressive to me about this stretch, and let me just tell you, I left that arena last night, 6 games and 8 nights, and I was wasted. I can't imagine what the players feel like. Uh, I know a lot. Oh, they make a lot of money. Shut up. They're still human. They do make a lot of money, and they should bust their butt the same way we do every day. But there are days where your body is just beaten up, and those guys last night looked really beaten up to me. I mean, that game was grossly ugly. But and you saw the strained calf by Devin and the quad by Josh Howard. And that's, I think, the reality of 6 games in 8 days. These guys just hammered. Uh, Physically, I can't imagine what they feel like. So to get that win, as gross as it was, against as limited a team as that was, that's pretty solid. Um, Sorry. Took another little in juice with my caffeine IV in the morning. Uh, so I think that's pretty solid. And I really am impressed by the way Tyrone Corbin managed things over this stretch. Here's what's going to be weird about this team this year is the difference between player 1 through player 11 on this team is pretty minimal. I mean, if you argue Paul Millsap's the best player on the team, the 7th or 8th best player on the team is pretty close too, which means that on given nights, different matchups work, different rotations work, and one of the strengths is depth, and you might as well try to use everyone they're fresh. The last two nights, back-to-back nights at home playing, games 5 and 7 and 6 and 8. Tyrone didn't use anybody other than last night, Al, for over 30 minutes, and really just some of it was injury based, but worked the rotations, and he's pulled a bunch of moves recently. Uh, finally going to Alec Burks, but not really finally, guys. I know we have the free Alec Burks stuff, but it should be the 7th and 8th preseason games. This is not a finally in any way, shape, or form. These kids just are not ready yet. If you look around the league, they're not ready. And I'm getting hit on Jimmer's night last night. Guys, Jimmer was 2 of 8 going into the fourth quarter, and then it was a 20-point game. He went 4 of 4 in the fourth. Isaiah Thomas had a night last night, but it was all in the fourth. Brandon Knight is, until Kyrie Irving did something last night, was pretty much the only rookie to have a legit impact, and Cantor, frankly. So, and Derek Williams has been okay. So just, let time happen, I guess would be my refrain on all of the reactions that I'm getting. And again, I understand it's not the entire fan base. It's probably most of the people watching this or listening to this. But let things play out. It's part of the season and part of the schedule. For example, Tyrone is not ignorant of what's going on with Raja Bell, and Raja is lost right now. I've rarely Raja's at a he mentally is slumping as much as he is shooting, and is just completely beaten down. It's gonna play itself out. Okay, everyone knows it, everyone sees it, but the right way to deal with these things is a day late, really a week or two late, rather than a week or too early. Let Raja try to get out of it. If in 5 or 6 more games Raja's not out of it, it's played itself out. And then there's no debate, there's no consternation, there's nothing wrong in the locker room, and you move forward. But you're better off letting guys. Remember when C.J. Miles stayed in the lineup for Jerry Sloan just longer than any of us could imagine? And by the time it was done, C.J. was like, "Okay, thank you, let me go to the bench." I don't think Raja's ever going to be, "Thank you, let me go to the bench," but let this play out. He finally took a what the shot the other night, and it went in. Maybe you'll see something out of it. And Burks is playing well and is in the rotation, and Howard's playing okay, and CJ's not. So it's not as though there's that many minutes to be had. I wrote on Empty the Noggin that I am a bit concerned about CJ. He's shooting 31%. Again, it's 8 games. We should be done with preseason, but I had high hopes for CJ coming out of preseason that this new body was going to lead to a different player, and it's not there. And then the mental part of his game is very loose right now. Those fouls late in quarters, and then unless they made a change last night defensively, he kept forcing the ball middle when you're supposed to be forcing baseline. And at least once a night, Tyrone Corbin has had to just really jump CJ. And as a 7-year veteran, I know he's loosey-goosey and young, and it's time, man. It's time. So considering all these things, that's why I think Ty's done such a good job. He's found how to use Cantor, who can go about 5-6 minutes, and then he falls off the map with fatigue. The Cantor favors combination, which didn't work well in San Antonio, nor did anything. He continues to allow them to learn how to play together. It's a pretty interesting mix. Favors is so terrifically talented and playing pretty well man-on-man defense and getting better with some of the concepts. Ron, who knows the system better than I do, says he's making less and less mistakes. But he's very limited offensively. There's very few things you can do where you give him the ball. In fact, on the right block right now, he has almost nothing. I'll get more into it and tip off probably tomorrow about that. So I thought Ty was brilliant just in the way he worked the pieces, found different ways, used the Watson-Harris combination, played Burks 20 minutes last night, so let's touch on that. I thought the first 10 minutes of Burks last night struggled. I thought he got beat a bunch defensively, dribbled the ball off his foot. He did a lot of things poorly, and that's fine. And I loved the fact that Ty let him play it out, and he really let him keep going. And then 6 assists, getting to the free throw line like he did. He's going to struggle to shoot this year. That's what rookies do, and then they have to figure out when to stop and pull up jumper. He's going to need a mid-range game here at some point. And But he going to the free throw line like he did in college, and to see it begin to show itself on the pro game, that is going to be a wonderful offensive weapon. And he's defending as best he can. He's getting beat on a bunch of back cuts. He got beat on three last night. He's getting velcroed on some picks, but he's battling when he can, and he's going to learn those things. But he played very well last night, and he didn't hit his shots last night, and he hit that three the other night, and it's going to take some time before we have a full body of work there. If this kid can hit that corner three, can hit a few threes, so that when the ball comes out to him, people aren't just stopping the drive. He's going to be a 15 to 20 point a night scorer in the NBA. He's legit. And the 6 assists are nice because he really looks like he's a head down player an awful lot of the time. All right. And then I thought Big Al last night did exactly what you're supposed to do. Their guy's missing, and he went after it and really did what you're supposed to do. Let me hit some of the Locke tip-off questions. This is our leadoff from Z23. Anyone better in shot clock situations than Burks? No, he's probably our best one-on-one player, and he goes to the free throw line. He's not. His shooting percentage in games when it matters is not good. You really got to throw out late fourth quarter blowout stuff. But he is doing a nice job getting to the line, and that's different than anybody else. Let's see. Molly Fudd wants to know, how far are we away from either Burks or Howard replacing Bell? We're close. Raja's not playing well, and everyone knows it, and Raja knows it, and that's the worst part about it. It's almost hard to watch. Let it play out. Bin Forbat wants to know, is it me or the Jazz better with Watson than Harris? They're not. They're different. Watson is perfect for what he does. And if you start Earl, then he has to change a little bit of what he's doing. Right now, he's just playing really well, picking up tempo, changing the game, doing those kind of things. I also think he's shooting, unless it's changed, about 28%. So let's not get overly excited. How far did the Spurs drop without Manu? A good deal. That was my TV thing last night. He is really there. That team is dependent on Manu, maybe more so than just about any other team in the NBA. So far this year, they're 11 points, small sample size, but they're 11 points better per 48 minutes offensively with him on the floor than with him off the floor. That's a big difference. In addition to that, they last year were 6 points overall better per 48 minutes when he was on the floor versus off the floor. So that's a big hit in regards to that. All bunch of Raja. Burks, Wesley, Matthew comparison, they're very different. I don't see, just personality-wise, everything about them. Let's see. What was Corbin upset about CJ about? Everything? Just kidding. Bunch of questions. My take on Rubio is I haven't seen him, but I talked to their play-by-play announcer, Elias, one of my closest friends, and he says he's legit. Just fabulous. Who's to blame on DeMarcus Cousins? Westfall's never dealt well with those kind of circumstances, but it's on the Kings. They drafted a kid they knew had problems, and he's had problems. So I think that's telling. And then what does it impress me about Burks defensively was another question. He just gets into people. And he's battling. He gets caught on picks and does a lot of things, but he's doing a nice job at least getting up on guys and doing in battle instead of being soft. So he's played that tougher than I thought. And then finally, Kings are achieving record lowest team assists. Why won't they use a point guard? Jimmer doesn't look like he's being asked to play point. I've only watched one game, the game I saw Jimmer played, and I watched the Memphis game today. Jimmer played backup point. I guess the only thing I would say, and I would watch the game with open eyes before kind of asking some things in that regard. I think Jimmer's going through what rookies go through right now. He looked like he was having a hard time, and he's passing the ball well. The best thing he's doing is point guard skills, but in a lot of other regards, he was really scuffling. All right, that's our tip-off. Hope you're good. Jazz sit at 3-3. 2 days off, much needed, and appreciate it. And go get your 5 pick 'em pack at 325-2999.